Alright, it is November the 8th. This is a Monday, right before the market open, 9:27, and I am going to be watching these OTC runners. IOUS had like the weakest close out of all of them, but in theory this one is trying to make a move towards the highs. It's all going to depend on what it does today, if it wants to do anything there or not. FERN isn't too bad. It's technically going to be the third day. This one wasn't really like an uptrending day. It was just holding this level here. Maybe it can try to make a move towards the upside. If it has like a morning panic or something like that, unless it looks super clean, I probably won't be interested in this one. It's not very nice. And AABB, I did stop looking at this one because it was trading horribly, and it eventually broke this level and kind of did like a crazy move. So maybe this is going to be a potential uptrending stock, something that maybe plays off of VWAP, and that would be pretty cool for a long setup. And then eventually at some point I might be considering shorting it again. RGBP, this one is also a runner. It had a nice close at the end. It kind of broke out of this range here at 27, and maybe this thing can also do an uptrend playing off of VWAP. IND, this one is another one. This one hasn't broken out, but it could try to make a move towards the highs if it does a morning panic as well. I'll be interested in this one. So I have these OTC runners right here. Maybe we'll have subs, maybe not, and I will be trying to do that thing that I mentioned in that weekly recap. I will try considering, if the setup has an opportunity for it, to consider selling half of my position. And maybe that means instead of selling my entire position at its highs and then it downtrends and I sell the other half for break even or a loss, at least it puts myself in a position where if a setup continues to work out, I can be more profitable. So I'll have that in mind too. So going to be a lot of things to look at. Alright, it is 9:40. I feel like this trade was a step in the right direction. I'm actually kind of happy with it. Just to go over it, yesterday it did a really nice move, and potentially this was a day right here, the nice move is going to try to do potentially another run up towards the upside, maybe. So this thing was a morning panic bounce play, but it could also be what you call a dip and rip setup. So what really got me in this trade, which I'm going to consider it as a morning panic bounce play, I didn't really have the risk level too nicely in place, but it had this downtrend right from 22 and it got as low as 19. I was watching it carefully once it tried to hold this level right here with a tiny wick at 1927, and I thought, alright, well maybe potentially I might be interested in it. Let's just see. At the time, 1979 was at the ask, and I was thinking, alright, well, I'm in 1,000 shares, right? 1979, and then if it kind of breaks this wick right here, and then maybe there is some slippage, I sell at 19. As you can see, I'm at 197. I get rid of that. That's pretty close to my $8 risk level, super close. But it eventually did in this candle here break the level, just not looking too nice. And once it actually headed down towards the down side again, once it kind of failed this thing, I'm sorry if it's a bit confusing, but I was trading this off of this morning panic bounce setup, but once it cracked this low right here at 1941, which was kind of important to me, and then it got to that wick level, and then this one it went even lower. There was such a large amount of people bidding their shares at 19. There were so many people bidding at 19, so I thought, how nice would it be if I get in like right around here and I risk 19? I'm gonna risk 0.27, alright, so like just a very small amount, 0.27 of a penny. I probably didn't get the proper size for this. Let's just see. I was in 2,000 shares and I did sell in two pieces, and that really helped. I was in at 936. My entry was 1939, so right here was my entry at 936. For a moment I thought I didn't get executed, but I did. And then I immediately, as you can see, I sold half at 19.7, the next minute 9.37 right here, and I thought, alright, I took a sell here, it might be just a highs right here, and then it kind of makes another leg down potentially, and it won't get towards VWAP. But because I did sell half here, I did have the confidence to hold this thing a lot better. And then I sold the last position. As you can see, I tried to sell there earlier at 224.9, but I wasn't able to. But I did sell at 939 at VWAP, which is always a goal. right here at 2.9. It wasn't the best sell, but it was having like a little sketchy, you know, downtrend, and now it's heading above VWAP, which is pretty cool. But I don't mind not being a part of that. That was still a pretty cool setup. Yeah, because I sold in 2 pieces again. I was in right here, and I sold 1 piece here, and I sold the other piece right about here. 1 sell here, 1 sell here. My buy was here. This thing is clearly still uptrending. This could be also a first dip under VWAP. It makes a new high, you know, and then it dips under VWAP again at some point higher than this level. I can trade that as well. Let's just see how close I was to my risk reward. I probably didn't trade enough, but let's see. In theory, I got in right here, 1939. 387. If it were to have broken 19, let's just see what it would be. I would probably try to sell at 19 if it were to have gotten there, because I'm not trying to be a part of something where it breaks 19, you know, and there might be like a panic, and maybe there's going to be slippage. But let's see, 387. Wow, I actually did trade according to my risk level. I did like double my size, thinking it's going to make up the difference, because I was buying it much lower in the 19s. I guess my percent gain is going to be somewhere around 3%. I really liked this trade. FERN did turn around too, but this one was kind of iffy. I didn't really necessarily want to trade it because it wasn't as like strong as AABB. This one's failing. Wow. Alright. ILUS. It's just trading around there near the highs, looking a little sketchy, but I don't think I'm ready to short something like that, at least right now. RGBP, nothing. And I did see FER, and yeah, it's on the other screen. I went over this one. This one did play out, but this one was kind of weird too. Yeah, I'm really happy how... Oh, that's a nice spike. What the heck? What? The idiot who just hit the ask. Anyway, that was a pretty nice move with AABB, and it clearly still has moves towards the upside. I'm kind of losing my vocabulary here, but I'm just pretty happy how I just sold in 2 pieces, because it did give me just that much more confidence to hold on to the trade. And I'm actually happy that I traded according to my size. I thought I had to have maybe traded larger, but it looks like it was pretty close to that $7 risk level. If it were to have gotten at 19, I would have gotten out of my position if it was just hitting the bid at 19 before it would break that, and then maybe make another leg down. So that was it. That was a trade here. I'll keep looking at AABB. Like I said, ideally it makes a move towards the upside, then puts up a higher low off of VWAP, maybe under it, maybe right at it, maybe slightly above it, and then if it starts to float off of it, that would be pretty cool too. So I'll make an update later, but that was a pretty nice, I think, step in the right direction, just selling in pieces. Alright, 9:59 a.m. This is a setup where I kind of hesitated in. I just feel kind of iffy with this one, but in theory I could be in at 316, 315. This will be actually the goal right here, VWAP, to sell into. So this thing has a nice spike, right? So it shows it has volatility, it has volume. It breaks under VWAP for the first time officially. I don't really count that. And then I could be in theory at 316, right? And you know, getting out of my position at 30 if it were to have broken below this wick right here. Maybe there's some slippage. So let's just see in theory, because I'm a bit too late. 150, 158. That's my $8 risk, and this one is trying to do it, but I just, oh buddy, I just don't want to take an L. I honestly just don't want to take an L on this. But you know, I was interested in it before I had this big green candle here. I was watching it here. 315 would have been more ideal, but here's a setup that could work, but I just hesitated in it. I just had a nice trade with AABB, and I just don't want to give away all my gains. But here's an example where I should have just went with it, or maybe just half my risk level, so I would trade 2,500 shares or 2,000 shares. This is a bit more speculative. I want to see if this thing can break above VWAP. It probably will. This is just a first dip under VWAP on the uptrending stock on the daily charts. I just had fears that maybe it's not gonna do much more and it loses momentum. Here's a head and shoulder, shoulder, head, shoulder. And I am still looking at AABB is trying to hang out around here. Ideally, if this thing gets under VWAP and it's higher than here, like I mentioned before, I'll be interested in that. It's a little choppy right now, but that was a potential trade. It's trading with a spread now, a small spread. I'll keep watching this just to learn from it, but in theory I could have been in and definitely tried selling at VWAP. That would have been kind of cool. Alright, it is 10:14. I want to make an update. I actually wasn't at the computer. I went to use the restroom, and it looks like it did give another opportunity to get in at 315, 316 level, and it did peak. It did get as high as 33, so that's pretty cool. I was just too chicken. I should have gone in this trade. I don't know if I would have gone into it here. Maybe. It depends on how it traded, the price action. I don't really like this red candle right here. I probably would have missed it. But maybe there was an opportunity where I could have gone in at 317, because that was probably the ask right there between 315, 317. And it did make another move towards 33. So let's just see if in theory I was in at 315, 316. Let's just say 316, and let's just say I took a sell at 329. What would that have been? Okay, so that was like $6. That's not really that bad for what that was, and that was a sell at 329. And if I were to have taken this again, I'd be in at 317 perhaps, and now it's at 331. So yeah, that was the setup there. This would have definitely have thrown me off if I was long it, but I would have had that risk level at give or take 305. Maybe I could have brought my risk level higher. Instead of freaking 30, just leave it at 305, and if it breaks the wick here, I get out. But yeah, this is why I like this whole thing with dollar risk levels, because if I'm just in like, oh, let me just throw 300 bucks here, let's see, oh no, it's going down, I'm out. Like, that would have sucked, and then it bounces back. But it didn't get to my risk level, which is an actual level. Like at the very bottom of the wick, it's a pretty extreme risk level. If it breaks here, maybe some slippage and it gets to that 30 level right there, maybe I could have moved my risk to 305, and then okay, maybe there's slippage. But this is a setup that worked. Whether it breaks this 334 level or not is totally possible. AABB is trying to downtrend, but I probably won't be interested in this anymore. I would have liked it if it happened much sooner. Nothing here with IND that I'm interested in. It could be a short, but I don't want a short when it's mid-range between this level right here and the top. I guess it's not too mid-range, but it's pretty close. Looks like I head and shoulders with ILUS. Maybe I would have shorted this, maybe. It did get to the neckline, so a short at 49 and it got to 47. Not much there. I was looking at this one because Tim traded it, but I don't really like these that just spike randomly, because of news, and it's not at the market open or anything like that. That was a potential setup there. FER is uptrending, which is nice. Although this one might be floating off of VWAP, so I won't be really that interested in trading it, but I'll look at that one for any dips. That's what I have for right now. Definitely a trade I could have taken with RGBP, but I really hesitated there. I shouldn't have, because if I'm too greedy, and in general, when people are too greedy, they end up losing money, not making money. Either losing because they didn't do it as well as they could have, they missed out on more money, trying to hold on to what they have, a whole bunch of issues there. So definitely I need to be more I guess more aggressive. But even if it were to have failed, that still would have been a good setup, because this is something I've seen happen many times before. A nice move after it has that first dip under VWAP. Alright, it is 1:42 p.m. and I haven't been looking at the markets too much. I've been doing other things, and I didn't like how the volatility on some of these was just starting to dry up. I have some work to do, so I probably won't make another recap until the market has closed. But yeah, this was a trade here with AABB. It did downtrend. It kind of just started to chill under VWAP, but I guess it started to slowly build itself up, and now it's from 20 to 21 and a half. So I guess there's a potential move in the future there, but again, it just kind of died off. As for IND, yeah, this one keeps failing. AABB, we just went over FERN. So this one never did anything off of VWAP, which is why I never considered trading it. It is trying to hold this level. It is trying to make a move, but it's not enough for me to be chilling around here. ILUS is under VWAP, so this one isn't looking that nice either. It's just trying to hang in there at the highs. It can at any point try to break out, right? Make a move towards the upside and do something nice, but if it's going to be today, that's too bad because I won't be there. RGBP, this is the one that I was interested in, and it did kind of stay under this range. It's now trying to hang itself there, but again, nothing playing off of VWAP, so it kind of lost my interest. That's all I have for right now. Just that one trade, and I should have traded RGBP. That one was a super ideal moment. It even gave another opportunity. I'm not sure if I would have been in this one, and it did kind of turn around here, but again, I just don't like how the momentum is kind of drying up on some of these. So I'll make an update at the end of the day, but yeah, there was nothing really much afterwards that really got me interested in maybe considering any of these, so I stopped looking at the stocks, and I think that was a good choice to make. Alright, it is 6:31 p.m. and I am here to call it off. Overall, I was up maybe today like 12 bucks and 20 cents trading AABB, which was that morning panic bounce play setup. I had a pretty good entry at 936, I believe was the entry price. Yep, 936 at 1939. So I was in right about there, 939 right here, 936. Why? Again, the main reason is that it was heading towards 19. It was downtrending. It broke this level that it was trying to hold previously. And when there was just such a nice and beautiful wall of people at 19, just right there at the bid, I thought, okay, I could take a buy. You know, if it starts to head back to 19 and then it looks like it might actually break under 19, all of this red print is going through, all of that bad, you know, price action, I'll get out. And I actually sized in accordingly with that $8 risk level, and I like it because this was a trade I could have easily traded, you know, 20,000 shares. And I like how I did sell half immediately when it was at 19.7, just to have more patience to hold through the rest, or if it goes back to the lows, then I at least sold half at a higher price, and that did give me more patience to sell much closer the other half near VWAP. I think, yeah, right here, 29, give or take, at 939. So this first green candle, it even got to 21, so it had even more you know, moves towards the upside. It did rebound later, but this kind of would have been hard for me to trade. I think I wasn't necessarily there anymore for that, and I did do this wrong. I did hesitate on RGBP. This was a successful setup right here, and I believe it was one more opportunity for the same setup right there. These things are trying to hold themselves. Maybe these things can continue to run towards the upside and be some kind of a setup for a long or maybe a short in the future. Of course, the more days that it is up, the less, you know, the more risky it is to be long, I think, but definitely still potentially a lot of opportunity. FERN really regained itself. It didn't do much more. This one's just downtrending. Maybe this one's gonna fail. It did break this level of support at 20, which isn't really that good, but you know, if I were to have been short this, I would have been short 1,000 shares. It would have been like a $20 short. So I don't think I would have done that, and I am just a little salty because of the fact that you know, I like swinging Bitcoin a lot. I had I think I mentioned that I was long at one point, I think, and what happened was that I sold at like 79, I think. I forgot. And then it spiked all the way up to 154, which was like a double for my entry. That was crazy, right? And then I was watching here, and then I had a really dumb trade, I think right here, and then I sold at 99, but I was only in a $200 position in it. In that previous trade, I made like 80 bucks, and then this is stupid one where I got in here, I lost like 40. And then I was actually thinking of going long before the market opened. And this thing had a nice move towards the upside. This is nothing like a regular stock because this thing just shoots up in the air. But this thing was kind of nice because it was trying to hold this level here. And then I had that easy risk level of it breaking 95 cents. And I could be in at 99. And then, I'm in at a reasonable size. This thing had a really nice move, but yeah, I'm pretty happy with my trade overall. I just should have been less hesitant with RGBP. Pretty happy with, again, how I traded AABB, because it is something that I can trade with more size. I don't want to drag this on too much. I think a lot of good lessons were made, and yeah, I look forward to tomorrow, God willing.